had spent a lifetime upholding duty and discretion, sensed something unsettling in Meghan's demeanor, a deliberate #end that went beyond love or romance. The Queen, in private, gave her a nickname #E, the architect. It wasn't a term of endearment. It was a warning. Lady Elizabeth Anson, the Queen's cousin and confidant, was privy to the monarch's innermo #ST thoughts during this turbulent period. In her final years, she revealed conversations that painted a starkly different picture #U from the public narrative. The Chewin, she said, believed Meghan had engineered her relationship with Harry with surgical precision. This hashtag wasn't a whirlwind romance. It was a calculated move, EACH step designed to elevate Meghan's status and reshape the royal narrative in her image. The Queen, who had navigated decades of political intrigue and family scandals, recognized the signs of a master strategist. And she was alarmed. From the earliest days of their courtship, Meghan's actions raised red flags within the palace. Small breaches of protocol, like addressing senior royals too casually or sidestepping additional hierarchies, might have seen #Med trivial to outsiders, but to the Queen, they were deliberate. Meghan didn't just misunderstand royal etiquette, she dismissed it outright, as if the centuries-old institution was beneath her. One incident, in particular, set the tone. During an early meeting with the Queen, Meghan was asked about her engagement plans. Her response was polite, but evasive, offering little and deflecting with charm. The Queen, accustomed to candor within the family, found it jarring. "She's playing a game," she later confided to Lady Elizabeth, her voice heavy with concern. The wedding planning only deepened the Queen's unease. Harry, eager to please Meghan, made decisions that bypassed royal tradition. The most glaring was his request to the Archbishop of Canterbury to officiate the ceremony at St. George's Chapel without consulting the Dean of Windsor, #O traditionally oversaw such events. To the public, it was a minor detail, but within the palace, it was a seismic breach. The Queen, who had spent her life preserving the monarchy's #Stoms, felt sidelined by her own grandson. "It's not just disrespect #, she told Lady Elizabeth. It #s a signal. They are rewriting the rules." Worse still was Meghan's refusal to share details of her wedding dress with the Queen. During a private audience, the monarch, then in her 90s, made a gentle inquiry, hoping to build a bridge despite her reservations. Meghan's response was polite, but firm, a refusal to disclose even the #smallest detail. The Queen, who had seen countless royal brides and weathered every kind of personality, was stunned. It wasn't about the dress itself, it was about trust. Meghan's secrecy signaled that she saw the Queen not as family, but as an outsider to be managed. That moment, Lady Elizabeth later revealed, was a turning point. The Queen's hope of finding common ground with Meghan began to fade. The tension wasn't limited to Meghan and the Queen. Her arrival in the royal family set off ripples that strained every relationship. Her dynamic with #Kate, the Duchess of Cambridge, was fraught from the start. The press painted it as a clash of personalities, but Lady Elizabeth's account suggests something deeper. The Queen observed that Meghan's presence created a wedge between the once close brothers, Harry and Willie #. During family gatherings, Meghan's #RM was undeniable, but her private interactions were marked by a cool detachment. She was selective with her warmth, reserving it for public moments while dismissing staff and protocols behind closed doors. The Queen, who valued unity above all, saw this as a dangerous fracture in the monarchy's foundation. What troubled the Queen most was Harry's transformation. The grandson she had always cherished, cheeky, warm, and fiercely independent, seemed #D to vanish. In his place was a man who echoed Meghan's words, mirrored her grievances, and distanced himself from the family. Lady Elizabeth recalled a chilling observation from the Queen, "He's not himself." He #s hers now. The monarch didn't believe Harry was coerced, rather, she saw him as willingly captivated, blind to the consequences of his choices. This, more than anything, broke her heart. The Queen had faced rebellious royals before, most notably Princess Diana, but Meghan was different. Diana had challenged the system out of pain. Meghan, the Queen believed, did so out of ambition. One incident, recounted by Lady Elizabeth, crystallized the Queen's fears. During a heated phone call, Harry berated his grandmother for nearly 10 minutes. It wasn't a discussion, or even an argument, it was an outpouring of anger, laced with accusations that the monarchy was stifling Meghan. The Queen, ever stoic, listened in silence, but the #call left her shaken. "He's never spoken to me like that," she told Lady Elizabeth afterward, her voice trembling. "Not once in his life." For a woman who had endured wars, crises, and family betrayals, this was a wound like no other. Harry wasn't just defending his wife, he was attacking the institution and the grandmother, who had shaped his life. The rift between Harry and William grew impossible to ignore. What began as minor disagreements escalated into a full-blown divide, fueled by tensions between Meghan and Kate. The Queen, who had hoped the younger generation would carry the monarchy forward together, watched in dismay as the brothers drifted apart. Lady Elizabeth noted that the Queen blah #med Meghan's influence, not for creating the rift, but for amplifying it. Meghan's knack for turning personal ghts into public narratives, whether about protocol, staff, or media, kept the family on edge. "She doesn't mend," the Queen reportedly said. "She divides." Meghan's public persona was another point of contention. To the world, she was a #icon of modernity, charismatic, outspoken, and committed to causes like racial equality and women #s rights. But behind palace walls, the Queen saw a different story. Meghan's charity work was polished and strategic, but her interactions #th royal staff were often curt or dismissive. Turnover in her team was unusually high, with aides quietly complaining of a DEM #anding, unyielding boss. The Queen, who treated her staff like family, found this troubling. "Service is sacrifice," she told Lady Elizabeth. "Not a stage." The Queen's suspicion deepened hen Meghan began framing every criticism as an attack on her identity. Allegations of racism or outdated traditions became her shield, deflecting scrutiny and shifting blame onto the institution. The Queen wasn't blind to the monarchy's flaws. She had spent decades navigating its complexities, but she saw Meghan's approach as manipulative. Instead of seeking dialogue, Meghan sought confrontation, cast in #G herself as a victim while sidestepping accountability. "She's rewriting the story," the Queen said, her words laced with both admiration and dread. "And we're not in it." By 2019, the monarchy was buckling under the strain. The wedding, once hailed as a triumph, now felt like the beginning of a slow unraveling. The Queen's health was declining, and the weight of the family's fractures bore heavily on her. She confided in Lady Elizabeth that she no longer trusted Meghan's intentions. "I hoped she loved him," she said, her voice soft but resolute #te, "but I don't believe she does." Those words, spoken in the twilight of her #ain, carried a chilling clarity. The Queen, who had seen every kind of royal drama, believed Meghan's motives were not rooted in love, but in power. The Finn #ulblo come #e when Harry and Meghan announced their decision to step back from royal duties. To the public, it was a bold move for deep #endance. To the Queen, it was a betrayal. She had extended olive branches, private dinners, heartfelt letters, even public gestures of support, but nothing had worked. Harry's loyalty was no longer to the crown or his grandmother, it was to Meghan. The Queen, ever discreet, never aired her pain publicly, but in private, she led it a tragedy of his own making. Lady Elizabeth, who died in 2020, carried these confidences to her grave, but her accounts, shared with trusted sources, revealed a monarch burdened by heartbreak. The wedding day, with its pomp and pageantry, was the moment the world saw a fairy tale. But for those closest to the Queen, it was something else. A turning int, a fracture that will never heal. Behind her poised smile and regal wave, Elizabeth's eyes told a different story. She wasn't celebrating, she was bracing herself. Meghan wasn't just a new royal. She was a force that would dismantle everything the Queen had built. And Harry, the grandson she adored, was a willing accomplice. As the years pass #D, the Queen's fears proved prescient. Harry and Meghan's departure from royal life, their tell-all interviews, and their public criticisms of the monarchy sent shockwaves through the institution. The Queen, in her final days, watched as the family she had fought to unify crumbled under the weight of ambition and betrayal. She never spoke publicly about Meghan, but her silence was deafening. To those who knew her best, it said ever thing. The story of Harry and Meghan wasn't a love-s Tory, as the world had been led to believe. It was a saga of calculation, division, and loss, a tale that began N with a single glance, and ended with a dynasty in disarray. The Queen, who had weathered every storm, saw it all coming. And in her heart, she mourned not just for Harry, but for the monarchy